Guys, thank you for joining me for my first video of the postseason. I'm sure you're all as excited as I am to see what's going to happen this week. So I'll get straight into my predictions. We'll start with the rename shame game. We've got Ryan v Triss, both off to an okay but not brilliant start, with one player underperforming for each person. Both teams have some difficult matchups this week. In fact, 10 of the 14 remaining players in these games have to go on the road. So, that's going to be a struggle for those guys playing in front of hostile crowds. This is a first week of the rename shame game prediction, but I think I'm going to take Triss to win this one. And going into the postseason with a 13 point lead into that second head-to-head. The game to watch here is going to be the Saints in Carolina. What Breeze does in goal situations. Does he hand it off to Ingram? Does he throw to Thomas on those submarine screens? It's going to be key to success for both these teams this week. Next, we move on to Mo v Phil. Here we have almost a reverse of the rename shame game situation, with only 5 of the 16 remaining players travelling, on away games. With more supportive crowds, that's going to make for a real barn burner of a sort of Sunday evening. This is a matchup that will be decided, I think, by the defences. Phil has the Jags going up against the Joshua Jackson making a start for the first time in 7 years, led Washington Redskins. Mo is playing the Titans against Eli Manning, and it's going to be Eli Manning with a long shot of making the playoffs still, which, as we all know, is the deadliest of Eli Mannings. So for this one, I'm going to, back Phil. It's going to be tight, but I think I'm going to back him to make the Draft Bowl final. Game to watch here is going to be Minnesota versus Miami. Stu v Ian is our second of the Draft Bowl finals, semi-finals. Stu's kicker is only by himself 0.36 points behind what Ian's WR1 and QB have put up so far this week. It's not a great start for Ian by any stretch. Adam Thomas and Stu has a comfortable lead so far, with lots of talent still to play. I think unless something big happens, like McCaffrey somehow lays a goose egg, I think Tread should be able to make the final here fairly comfortably. It's going to be difficult to see any sort of comeback coming from Ian. So Stu, I think you got this one. Game of the week for you guys is going to be the Steelers at Foxborough. I think that one's got the most fantasy implication for you both. Semi-final one, we have Brad v Andy. It's quite impressive to see two players both get to the postseason and then actively try and lose their semi-finals. So that's quite impressive to see. Lindsay doing his best to not outrush Miller by too much, and Landry catching 3 of his 8 targets. That's a very strange result for Brad. Andy has kept Connor in his lineup so far, despite his doubtful tag. Once he's officially ruled out, he's going to have to play with someone who's much less talented, and he's only going to have one of his remaining big 3 players left to go. Question for these two teams is, who has that big game left in them? You want a person that might be able to go for 120, maybe 1 or 2 scores as well. Most recently, the person to do that has been Amari Cooper. And so I think he's got the best chance of being that game changer again. So I'm going to back Brad to make the final here in what is otherwise going to be a terrible, terrible matchup. So the games with the most fantasy implication for you guys, though, is going to be the Seahawks versus San Francisco. I'm sorry, you're going to have to watch Nick Mullins play again. So do keep an eye on that one. But I'm saying Brad makes the final here. Semi-final number 2, it's going to be me v Tom. I'm almost certainly in pole position here, I think, after Nuke had a monster night. Chubb did okay in response, but he was really at least a touchdown and a few more yards away from actually giving Tom any life here. Things in fantasy are never certain. I've got I could have a couple underperformances. I've got people like Breeder going, who, is gimpy, and another, roll up on his ankle early in the first quarter. Suddenly he's, out and not put up any points for me. Tom might be back in it that way. But in failing these sort of things happening, I think I'm going to make my 4th final in 5 years. And I think, yeah, I'll probably end up facing, at this point, likely Brad in the final. You and I, Tom, watched the Dallas versus Colts game as our final, our one to watch this week. Guys, best of luck, and I will see you all next week for the live video. We'll be going live at 11 a.m. British time. So I hope Stu get up early, I guess. Maybe you might have to do it from work, I don't know. But 11 o'clock Sunday next week will be our live video. Cheers, guys. Goodbye.